Yo, what's up everybody, it's your boy Jed here, and Sonic Generations is one of my all-time favorite Sonic games, and the recent release of Sonic Shadow Generations is finally here, and I could not be more excited, and since it's out, I figured I would cover it since there's a lot for me to say and talk about in regards to this game. Now, before this video starts, I want to give a massive spoiler warning to anyone who hasn't played the game or has not yet beaten the game. So if you want to avoid spoilers for the game and its story, I recommend you leave right now. You've been warned. Let's talk about the game.
Move proper, evil twin top shotters.
Put a bag on my head, make it flip. Run, hop out the whip, don't run no trip. You a IG goon, I don't care who you with. I got a king with a grip like click, click.
Make him do flips, we left him froze like he taking a pic. They know my body, I'm aping and shit. I'm a dog in the park, how I play with the slip.
Now, before we talk about the actual game, I feel like we need to talk about Sonic Shadow Dark Beginnings, a 3-short episode OVA that focuses both on Shadow's past, as well as what he's up to before the events of both his story and the actual game. Now, originally I was going to make this video and Dark Beginnings 2 separate videos, however I decided to lump them together since they are connected, though I probably will make a full in-depth video about Dark Beginnings itself, since I mostly want to use this video to talk about the game, but regardless I do still want to touch on it since Sonic Shadow Dark Beginnings is A, connected to the game like I just mentioned, but B, it's actually really fucking good. It looks beautiful, the art is amazing, it's really well drawn, everything is so smooth. I also really like the voice acting, surprisingly, especially Stephanie Sheh as Maria. I also really liked hearing Roger as the commander. It's nice hearing him get to show off his vocal range again, because god, that man can fucking act. It's nice, and it's all topped off with some surprisingly really good fucking writing. Honestly, truth be told, I need a whole show in the style of this game. Sega, make a full anime in the style of this show, and my soul is yours. I put that on my life. I will give you my soul, Sega. I will turn into the Vtuber Havoc. I will become a fucking Sonic tuber if you make a show in the style of this show. I'm probably lying hard as shit, but damn it, I'm gonna make that promise. I'm promising on my soul because I want that damn show. I also really like how they brought back Omega just being a fucking dork, because Omega, he's cool, he's badass, but he's also just kind of a fucking dork. And I love that that's back. It's so fun seeing Omega get to just be a fucking dumb machine dork for a bit. I love it. I also love how it's just a thing now that Sonic and Rouge are fucking drama buddies, because the way she acts over Shadow coming to Sonic's birthday, it's so fucking extra, so over the top, but it is so fucking fitting, especially for those two. I love it. I love that it's a thing. It's so fucking funny. It's so good. Another thing that's really good and that I thought was a really neat touch was I love how Shadow is just genuinely terrified at the mere idea that Black Doom could still somehow be around. I also really enjoyed seeing Shadow and Emerald fight on the arc, which added a nice little bit of detail from Sonic Battle and Sonic Chronicles: The Dark Brotherhood into the story of this game. The fights in the show in general were really fucking good, especially the Team Dark fight scene where they were fighting together in the pyramid base. It was so fucking cool. Something I personally thought was really cool is if you watch the complete version, the one that has all 3 episodes together, at the end of the 3rd episode you get a sick ass post-credit scene which shows that Black Doom is fucking back. He's still around some way, somehow. It's fucking nuts, dude. There's so much to talk about in regards to Dark Beginnings, how much it fucking talks about, how much it covers, all this stuff that's in it, and it's insane because in such a short amount of time for each episode they went through a lot, and holy shit is there a lot to talk about. And I don't have all the time in the world. I don't want to have all the time in the world. I wish I did, so I could sit here, I could talk about this, because I'm fucking excited. I love this. This is great. It's not all positive. There are a few issues here and there, but it was so minor I don't feel like bringing it up. It was mostly fucking good things. It was mostly just a few small weird little animation details that I thought were a bit fucking awkward and janky, like Shadow's running in the fucking dark thing, in the dark hallway, when it cuts to the sequence of Maria getting shot. But aside from that, I'm not gonna go into like autistic levels of fucking detail. I can't spend this entire video talking about Dark Beginnings as much as I would like to. I'm just gonna move on to the actual game before I spend a whole video on this. Now, I'm going to be covering Shadow Generations in this video and only Shadow Generations in this video, and saving the main Generations portion of the game for when I make my actual, like, proper Sonic Generations video. However, there's a lot to talk about for Shadow Generations, starting with the story. It begins with OVA left off with Shadow an hour after he arrives in the Ark, where he gets a call from Rouge asking if he's still there, to which he affirms for noticing something off in the distance and goes to check it out, running into Black Doom on the way to the hallway. Eventually, he comes across the fake Chaos Emerald Tails made in SA2 and takes it. However, as soon as he does, the Time Eater sucks everyone into white space, and Shadow's also pulled into a white space of his own and finds himself beside an unconscious Omega for noticing a giant floating object in the sky called the Black Moon. He goes to continue his journey, but stops when he sees Maria in the distance. However, he brushes it off as an illusion, thinking back to the moment of her death before continuing on and coming across a new power called Doom Spears, and uses them to continue onward, eventually coming across another new power, that being Doom Blast. Using it to reach a boss gate and after dealing with the boss inside of it, the Bio Lizard, the Black Moon opens up a little bit, as well as having two eyes open from the power Shadow has awakened. Black Doom then reveals himself to Shadow and tells him that he plans to use the powers of the anomaly to restore the Black Arms and take over the world. However, Shadow confronts him, but Black Doom leaves before he can, while warning Shadow that they'll meet again when the time is right, leaving Shadow with no choice but to continue onward, coming across another new power, that being Doom Surf, which he uses to travel across the water in white space, and eventually Shadow comes across Maria running from a bunch of the Black Arms. He saves her, and Professor Gerald arrives not long after, prompting Shadow to realize that they must have been pulled from a point in time before the gun raid on the Ark, decide to continue onward, hoping that maybe he can change their fate. Eventually, the Black Moon mutates even further, and Shadow questions Gerald about it. He explains that Shadow, Black Doom, and the Black Moon are all linked by blood, since Shadow has Black Doom's blood inside of him, and figures that Black Doom is planning to control Shadow's mind or take over his body when his powers fully manifest, but Shadow refuses to let that happen, proclaiming he'll use Black Doom's powers as his own. Afterwards, Shadow continues on his journey and awakens to another new Doom power, that being Doom Morph, before running into Sonic outside of Cityscape, and Sonic tells him that he needs his Chaos Emerald, but Shadow declines, leading the two to enter a time portal, taking them to final rush, and they fight for it, with Sonic winning the fight and beating the dog shit out of Shadow because he hesitated, and he takes the emerald. Sonic then leaves with his emerald, and Rouge shows up and reunites with Shadow, asking him what happened, and Shadow explained to Rouge that Sonic took the fake emerald, and that he'll need Rouge to switch the fake emerald with the real one. For the two return to white space, and Shadow goes off to fight Mephiles. And after beating him, the Black Moon mutates more, and Black Doom confronts Shadow once more, this time in front of Gerald and Maria, and demands Shadow face him so that he can take control of him, and in his anger, Shadow begins to be corrupted by his new power, but Maria encourages him not to give in to that anger. He powers through it, and not long after, awakens to his final new Doom power, the Doom Wings, and the Black Moon fully mutates as well. Shadow goes to see Maria and comforts her before he goes into the Black Moon to face Black Doom once more, who transforms into Devil Doom before eventually transforming into a new form called Neo Devil Doom. But even with this new power, Shadow does manage to defeat him and destroy the Black Moon, but loses his powers as a result. Rouge takes the Chaos Emerald from Shadow and goes to give it to Sonic. Meanwhile, Shadow goes to see Gerald and Maria once more, and with the loss of Black Doom's power, the two begin to fade away as they return to their point in time, and Shadow doesn't want them to disappear, but Maria encourages him to let them go and to move on from whatever happens to them in their future, and though emotional, he lets them fade back to their time, and he goes to help off Sonic, running past Rouge and shedding a tear as he goes, which hits Rouge, but she wipes it off, realizing that he's crying before flying after him, and the two head off, thus ending the game. Story-wise, this game is really good. It's a short, sweet, simple little story without many issues. The cutscenes look beautiful, the shot work of it all is amazing, it's dope. It really is good at keeping you immersed in the feeling of it all as well. I especially like how they recreated and referenced certain scenes, like the opening scene to Shadow the Hedgehog, with this cutscene with Shadow and Black Doom, or the entire Sonic vs. Shadow scene being one big reference to the scene of Sonic and Shadow meeting in White Jungle.
I found you, Shadow!
The blue hedgehog, of all places.
That blue hedgehog again, of all places.
I found you, Faker! Yeah, sorry, but that Chaos Emerald and I have a date with a monster.
Well then, it'll be a date to die for.
Didn't you know? We have a date with Eggman too.
Is that so? Well then, it'll be a date to die for.
It's fucking dope. And I can tell Ian really tried with this story, which is really nice. I also love how they recreated the SA2 Sonic and Shadow shot 3 times this past fucking year. They just keep bringing this shot back. It's a dope shot. I fucking get it. Damn. But that aside, the voice acting is solid though, especially Ben Diskin as Black Doom. Back in Shadow the Hedgehog, he was voiced by Sean Shamble, but in this game, he's now being voiced by Ben Diskin, and he does so fucking good. I genuinely didn't even notice it was a different voice, dude. Admittedly, I'm still not huge on Kaiko and Shadow, but I've never been huge on his Shadow. And admittedly, some of Rouge's lines are delivered a little bit weird, but
whatever.
It all comes together very well, but there are a few issues with the writing, and I'd be remiss not to mention any of them. Thankfully, there aren't many, but they are there. The biggest one being Black Doom, because the game plays it off as Black Doom is only back because of the time it is anomaly. However, this contradicts with both the OVA and the start of the game. The OVA shows that Black Doom is actually on the Ark, and the starting cutscene of the game shows the hallway being affected by Black Doom. I say this is by Black Doom because it has the same effect that the game does in game when Doom's eye shows up and begins to mess with the stages, meaning it's gotta be because of him, because there's no real evidence it's by anything else. And again, the effect is exactly the same. Moreover, all this is before the time it actually does its thing with white space, meaning Black Doom has to actually be alive for this to be happening. But the game contradicts with both itself and its tie-in OVA. And I bring up the OVA so much since it is directly connected to the game, as the OVA ends with Shadow on his way to the Ark, and the game starts directly after that with Shadow on the Ark an hour after he left. Again, I must read it so you understand this. Shadow sees the messed up hallway in the real world Ark before the time meter does its time anomaly thing and creates a white space, meaning Black Doom has to be in the real world for this to be happening. So even if you brush off the OVA as simply a post-credit scene, you cannot brush off the actual fucking game, because he cannot be both affecting the real world and he'd also only be around again because of the time meter's anomaly. It has to be one or the other, since the two are directly opposed to another. It cannot be both. This is terrible writing on all fronts, no matter how you slice it, especially since Ian wrote both the OVA and the game. There's no excusing that. I'm sorry. There's no valid, genuine explanation for that. Thankfully, that's the only big issue. The next issue I have is much smaller, and that's the whole deal with Rouge and the fake emerald. Sonic takes the fake emerald from Shadow, and Rouge has to give Sonic the real one and switch the two before Sonic notices and faces the Time Eater, but there never would have been a chance for Rouge to do that, since once Sonic gets the emerald, it never leaves him or Tails. Moreover, they rush to get it to him just before Sonic faces the Time Eater. It's just a weird little teaser that wouldn't have had any chance to be properly sorted out. The final issue I have with the story is a bit of a personal one, but I'm just not a huge fan of the whole ordeal of Shadow having to get over his past and then to go with Maria and Gerald again, and especially how hard it was for him to let go, mainly because at this point, the entire point of both Shadow the Hedgehog and his story of 06 is not only him letting go of his past, but by 06, completely overcoming it. It's just redundant and unnecessary at this point, when we had a whole game about him overcoming his past, and his story in the game directly following this puts a big emphasis on the past and how it can affect your future. It's not a huge deal since A, it's a fan service story just like Generations is, and B, Suzuki did say the game's story was more so meant to reintroduce people to Shadow and his story, especially for newer fans, and it definitely does well at serving its purpose of that. It's just something I'm not personally a fan of. Thankfully, those are the only issues I have with the game's story. Outside of those two small things, plus the giant black elephant in the room that is Black Doom's bare fucking existence, I have no other issues with the story. That being said, I do have a few small issues with the gameplay, namely the controls, since the controls are basically the same as Frontiers based controls in the game as a whole, because sometimes feel very Frontiers-esque, which I'm not a huge fan of, since I have a few issues with Frontiers' gameplay, and I'm still not a huge fan of that game's base control scheme. It's so awkward, especially having the boost on the right trigger. I don't care that it's a recommended control scheme. I didn't like it then, I don't like it now. I am so fucking glad that they give you the option to switch the controls to be more like the OG Generations. It just feels so much better. I'm also not a huge fan of the boost feeling like it slows down a little bit, which also feels carried over from Frontiers, which is that huge up. It's not a huge slowdown to where you need to either spam it to actually get decent speed or have mods on that actually make the boost decent. But it's very slight, and once you notice it, you will never unnotice it. Thankfully, it has its fucking invincibility back, so it completely makes up for the fact that it has a slight slowdown, but I could just run through things, so it's not a big deal. Jumping can also feel somewhat floaty, but again, not a huge deal. I also kind of miss having lives in Sonic games. This is something I noticed they've been doing in pretty much every game from forces to now, none of them have had lives. And honestly, I miss lives being a thing. Aside from simply it made screwing up and dying have a lot of meaning, you lose all your lives and that's GG. Start over from the fucking beginning, bitch. Without lives, you can pretty much die as much as you want, and if you ever feel like you won't get an S rank, you can just restart. It'll even reset the timer, so screwing up really doesn't mean anything, which in my opinion works for the challenge missions, but for the main levels, I've never really liked that. And until recently, I never really noticed how much I miss having lives in these games, and this game kind of just solidified that thought in my head, because I messed up quite a few times, specifically in Chaos Island, when trying to S rank it and get all the keys, and no matter how many times I died, I never really got mad at the fact that I died. I also got annoyed at the fact that I would have to start over from the beginning if I wanted to guarantee an S rank. Other than that, this game feels amazing to play. Again, boosting has its fucking invincibility back, which is a huge dub. I love that. I also love how good Shadow looks. Now he has various animations for getting different ranks and on the different stages, and how unique they all are, and they all look so fucking cool. I also really like how the game is the reverse of the base game, where in Generations, the first act is a 2D classic Sonic act, and the second act is a longer 3D act for modern Sonic. This game has the first act be a big open 3D level with changes halfway through as a result of Black Doom. Meanwhile, the second act is a 2.5D act that's a bit shorter. Both acts makes heavy use of the respective Doom power you can just unlock. I also find it neat how every stage, with the exception of Chaos Island, is a stage Seto's been to since from games he's in. The stage you play through in this game are the Space Colony Arc, Rail Canyon, Kingdom Valley, Sunset Heights, Chaos Island, and Radical Highway. I also like how each stage take elements from the various interpretations of the respective stages, like Sunset Heights having the beach trails, which only appear in Shadows version of the stage, or Rail Canyon combining elements of both Bullet Station and the Rail Canyon stage, such as things like running through the train station, or how the Space Colony Arc pulls elements from Final Rush, Final Chase, and its appearances in Shadow the Hedgehog. Another thing that I love how every stage and every act also has a large variety of different paths for you to take and various routes for you to go through. Even with Shadow's various abilities, including Chaos Control, that very much carry lots of replayability. Another thing that adds replayability is that every stage has 3 collectible keys, those being a green book key, a yellow music key, and a blue art key. These keys are also in every challenge act, and they're used to unlock collection boxes, which are hidden throughout Shadow's white space in the various areas and scattered all around. They're in very intricate and elaborate places, making use how open it all is and how much room there is for you to roam around, which I really do like that Shadow's white space is super open and explorable. And I also like that the collection bosses all require you to explore and take notice of your surroundings and use your various Doom powers to take it to your advantage. And not just to get around, but to just find some of them in hidden areas, such as using Doom Blast to hit this enemy to this ledge just above the Bowler boss gate, where you can find 2 of them hidden up here, or how you can use the Doom Wings to fly around to get to some of the higher up ones, like this one atop one of the cathedral towers. There's a total of 96 scattered throughout, 10 green ones containing Shadow's history, 22 yellow ones containing music, and 55 blue which contain various artworks of Shadow and things Shadow has been in, like Sonic X and design artwork for Shadow, or the box art for Sonic 06, which can be viewed in Shadow's collection room, which is also very open. You can run around and it feels so nice. It looks so cool too. It even has a damn motorcycle. You can even find the pages to Dr. Gel's journal in white space floating around in these balloons, which you need to utilize the Doom Spears to start the target balloons, which keep the pages floating before they'll pop and fall down, and you can find every single page in this. The last thing you find in white space are machine parts, which are used to help Orbit and Cubot build their rocket ship. There's a total of 80 of them scattered through our white space, and they're all hidden in very intricate, explorable areas as well that require a lot of inspiration. Sadly, you don't get an extra cutscene or anything if you do manage to help them. All you do get is a trophy for collecting all 80 machine parts and giving it to them. You know what your fucking reward is? You want to know what you get for scouring white space for all 80 machine parts? You get a clock. A fucking cuckoo clock. That is what you get. You get a goddamn cuckoo clock. I haven't even collected all 80 pieces yet. I still need 3 more. I only know what it is because of CG Inferno. Shout out to him. But that genuinely annoys me. Anyone who ever played Breath of the Wild and go through hunting down all 900 fucking Koroks just to get rewarded with the damn golden poo? First of all, I feel fucking sorry for you. Secondly, that's what this feels like. This is Sonic's golden fucking poo, dude. That genuinely fucking annoys me. Just thinking about it makes me annoyed. I have 77 parts. I only need 3 more. And honestly, I don't even want to go hunting for the other 3, knowing it's for a damn clock, but I want to get that damn trophy since I'm so goddamn close to it. It's infuriatingly annoying. God damn, fuck these 2 stupid ass robots. Waste of fucking space you 2 are. Jesus fucking Christ, I hope we can turn them to scrap, both of you. I need something to talk about else. I need to talk about something positive before I got to break it here. Oh my god. The boss fights. I love the boss fights in this game. They all make use of the different Doom powers just like the stages do, and they're all amazing. Very intricately designed to fit this new style. They're all super fun to play. Each boss also ends with a QTE, which leads to a super cinematic cutscene. Bosses also all talk to Shadow, like Metal Overlord will mock you if you use fucking Chaos Control, and Shadow even responds back to them. For example, after defeating Mephiles, he responds to what Mephiles says at the start of the fight with this.
There is no future for you. Ever.
It's so fucking cool, dude. It's an unnecessary detail, but one that I love. I also like how at the end of each boss fight, if you have your Chaos Control meter full, you can trigger an extra cutscene by using Chaos Control to deal the final blow. And every single one of those cutscenes looks badass. Another boss detail that I love is how the first 2 phases for Black Doom rely on the 2 previous Doom powers, Doom Surf and Doom Morph. However, he's the only boss in the game with a 3rd phase where he transforms into Dio Devil Doom, which utilizes Doom Wing and continues the trend of using the power you just got. And the boss fight feels very similar to the one from the Shadow the Hedgehog game. It's great. The only one I wish they actually let you do is Sonic, as the Sonic and Shadow fight and tell you a fucking cutscene with blows. 0 out of 10 game just for that fucking alone. I'm joking, of course, but I would have loved to do an actual Sonic boss fight in a similar style to how Shadow the boss in Generations is. Modders, hey modders, y'all know what to fucking do. Thankfully, I don't need to rely on modders with the sound design though. I really like the sound design of Shadow Generations. Hits with Doom Blast is very powerful and heavy, especially in the Mephiles boss fight. How Chaos Control literally stops everything in the stage, including the timer and music. I also love how when using Chaos Dash, an ability Shadow has when in Chaos Control, which can be activated by coming into contact with these green light trails, they use the same sound as the trails from Shadow the Hedgehog. Don't believe me? Fucking check it.
Chaos Control!
Another firework.
It is sick how much they pulled from Shadow's past for this game in every minor detail, including that you play as Terios if you buy the digital deluxe edition of the game. Terios being the beta design for Shadow in SA2, back when he looked like a literal dark clone of Sonic, which is where the plot point of Shadow looking like Sonic from SA2 comes from. And getting to play as him is super cool. He doesn't have any unique animations or anything, but it's cool getting to see Shadow's beta design get an actual skin. And while I very much prefer the final design that we got, I don't hate the beta design. It's always fun to see beta designs get pulled from for things. It's always nice, just in games in general, especially like in Sonic fucking Superstars where you can play as Oswald the Rabbit, one of the beta designs for Sonic. But speaking of pulling from Shadow's past, the game also has a large variety of various song remixes, many of which are songs associated with Shadow, and while not all of them are great, I do like a lot of them and think some of them are pretty solid. And that really goes for the music of this game as a whole. Listen to a bit of it for me, will you? much all there is to talk about in regards to Shadow Generations though. It's got a decent story, okay, music, but it has a lot for you to see and explore through in Shadow's Whitespace, which makes me wish Sonic's Whitespace was 3D as well, as amazing stage design with various paths for you to go through, kick-ass boss fights, wonderful sound design, and overall this game is a damn good time. I just wish it was longer. I really liked this game, and I had so much fun just running around and exploring Whitespace, and even just playing through the stages to get the keys again. I'm currently in the process of S-ranking every stage in the game, and as of now, I've gotten all the keys, and as of right now as well, all I have left to S-rank is Devil Doom, but trust and believe, I will fucking S-rank him. Anyways, I'm gonna stop wasting time. If you did enjoy this video, be sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. If you didn't, you can tell me how much I suck with YouTuber and the Vtuber in the comment section down below. Peace out and enjoy yourselves, everybody.
The darkness, the dozens in the dusk, throw it all away. No one can break you, nobody can tear you. You live an endless life forever.